So over here on the JP side of things, I think we have a campaign that's kind of going a little unsung for a lot of players. You know, it might have been mentioned here or there, but I don't think people actually understand how good this is. So because they're bringing every servant back over here, so that way you have the chance to make whatever grand servant you want, you know, your grand servant, they've brought everybody back. But because some people might have noticed that when they bring characters back, they unlock their interludes. Every character's interlude is going to be available for every player to clear, which when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, so that means, you know, I get to read all the characters' interludes for characters I don't have. That's really interesting because I'm playing this game for the story, I like the lore and all that good stuff, but then thinking about it further and actually clearing some of these events and some of these missions, I was like, this is way better than I thought. I mean, first and foremost, there's the Saint Quartz aspect of all this, right? Because you're getting like, what, 2 Saint Quartz sometimes for clearing these, but then it's also going towards your missions, right? There are missions for every 10 interludes that you complete, you get 10 Saint Quartz. That's a pretty big deal when you're able to do like the freaking 400 plus interludes that there are in this game. You know, that's really, really good. That's pretty strong. But then the other thing I was noticing as I was going through and clearing some of these was that you get a lot of materials for clearing some of these missions, right? Like and this is going to be a little embarrassing, but I'm really low on snake gems over here on the JP side of things. I don't know how that happened. Don't ask me. Don't ask me what servant I was like upgrading that needed all my snake gems, but apparently they're all gone. I've been robbed. And then I was doing one of Orion, or I guess technically Artemis's interludes, and I was like, yeah, they just gave me like 8 snake gems. I'm like, dude, this is really good. And then I just finished another one of theirs and I got like 7 octuplet crystals, and I was like, dude, this is not only really good at just for the Saint Court aspects of things, but it's just really good in general because you're also going to be getting a ton of materials, which in combination with, say, the daily login stuff that you get, this is really strong, especially because these also contribute towards your daily login. So even if there's nothing to do, technically you have interludes to go farm. And I don't know, I just wanted to make a video kind of highlighting it. I don't want this to go unsung for kind of how good I think it is, because it also, in a way, fixes one of the issues where, you know, we'll have like dead periods in FGO where there's not a whole lot to do. JP's not really feeling this. We have a current event going on that you can go farm and all that good stuff, and events have been ramped up, so there's more in the shop, so it actually does feel like it does take the 3 weeks to actually kind of get through. So that's always really good, but it does mean whenever there's nothing going on, there's at least a decent bit of interludes to go farm. Not the rank ups. I'm assuming they'll just make us wait for the rank ups until you actually get the servant, but again, it does give you stuff to go do. And another thing that I kind of wanted to just toss at there is like a general question is, what do you think the most annoying interlude to do is? Because the only one that I've actually been kind of annoyed by at this point was one of the Ishtar ones, because it's not hard, it's just annoying, because you have to use pre-buffed Gil and pre-buffed Enkidu alongside Ishtar to go beat this, like, it's like a 300, 400k Gugalana, something along those lines. And because they're pre-buffed, you know, you're not getting like your batteries. Enkidu, I don't even believe has like the guaranteed dodge on, what is it, his second skill or something like that. And it just takes a long time. The Gugalana is an alter ego, so it's not like he's hitting you for all that much damage, but it's just more annoying, right? Again, annoying doesn't mean it has to be hard, so I kind of wanted to throw that out there because, you know, obviously I don't own every servant in the game, so there are, and I know this is going to be crazy as the FGO guy, but I haven't done every interlude in the game. I know, crazy. So kind of wanted to float that out there just for, you know, maybe people that are on the JP side of things can be aware. It's like, oh, Lancers are coming up next, you know, be ready for this guy. Be ready for, I don't know, Karna's randomly difficult interlude. I don't know if Karna's actually is that difficult. I'm pretty sure I've done all of Karna's on both versions of the game, but you get what I'm saying, you know, just using it as an example. I'm trying to think, like, I know, what is it, like, Gilgamesh has an interlude where we have to go fight, like, a really big, what is it, like a 700k or, like, 1 million dragon enemy? But I'm pretty sure you can beat that with the, like, Gilgamesh they give you for the interlude, right? Because I think they give you a Gilgamesh for the interlude. No, that wouldn't make sense, because that would assume you already have him. I don't know. I know that I beat him up with Gilgamesh. It might not be, like, the one they provide for you. It might just be the one that I had. It's been a long time since I've done that one. It's been kind of a fat minute, but you know, it just might be interesting for people to be like, oh yeah, for people that don't have like Shang Yu, like he's got this really tough interlude that you gotta be ready for. Like, it's got 4 supports and the enemies are buffed out the wazoo, because there are some of those that are a little bit more annoying. Like, I know No, not Reigns, but oh, dude, I'm blanking on her name. I always blank on her name, but it's literally Shang Yu's wife. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, the assassin. For one of hers, you gotta do like a solo with Lan Ling. You gotta bring him and beat like all these other servants that appears in like Lost Belt 3. It's not super difficult, but I also think if you're not as experienced playing the game, it might be a little bit more difficult. You're like, I've never used this Lan Ling guy before. I have no idea what he does. So that might also just be like a neat thing to put in the comments for, you know, either JP players to get ready for, or if you're on the NA side of things, it's like, oh, okay, be ready for part 2 of like these banners rolling out, because it's going to be a little bit annoying. One of the other things that I also saw that I'm probably not going to make a separate video on is the fact that they are going to be rolling out like I think it's like to make the, what's it called, the class scoring thing a bit easier to level up in preparation for the end of part 2 that we have over here. And I don't know if that's really anything, because I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I really have not used that ever since really like a couple weeks ago when I had like so much QP and I was really trying to get low high that I just started mass leveling up everything I could in the class scoring program. For people that don't know, it's that like huge skill tree thing that you kind of see for these specific individual classes that, as far as I'm able to understand, because again, I'm going to keep it a buck with you, I have not read up on it. It only seems like it procs the things whenever you use a command spell on your characters. Because that's the only time that you'll see like the little like flashing buff on it. Like here, like I'll give you like an example. If I just like pop a command spell on, you know, her over here. Yeah, like see, it'll start flaring up. And I think that's when you get it. I mean, if it is like a passive buff for like all of your characters, that's crazy. I just haven't noticed it. It hasn't seemed to be like that substantial for me. But they're going to be buffing that. I don't think that's anything. I know people are a little concerned with the difficulty curve. In fact, unfortunately, I have seen sometimes that there are players that are like, oh, I'm not playing the story, or I'm kind of dropping the game for a little bit because it's getting a little too hard. You know, they'll hear how like the game's getting more and more difficult, and they're like, oh, I just don't know if I can keep up with that. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I mean, because Ordeal Call 3 was actually pretty tough throughout the entirety of the run. And so that one I could say is the first time in a while when like a story chapter has just been difficult. It's just been straight up hard. So that's the only time that I can be really concerned. But it's like Ordeal Call 1 and 2, I really don't think we're all that bad. Like I don't think they're like that horrendous to get through. So I don't think them trying to like make it easier for you to get that is like a sign of, oh, the difficulty's gonna spike, it's gonna go out the wazoo. Especially with, you know, more recent Lost Belts. Like, you know, you guys now have Lost Belt 7 over on the NA side of things. So, you know, you can see it's like, oh, Comet Saz is like, he's a little tough, but he's not realistically like not that bad. You know, ORT is definitely a lot easier than people were giving it credit for. And it's really funny to now see people being like, dude, I prepared like 150 servants to take this guy on, and I only needed like 40 of them. It's like, yeah, it's really not all that difficult. It's just more like managing the servants you have. So I don't think that's anything, but yeah, just kind of wanted to make a video talking about this because I found myself farming this, and I was like, dude, I'm getting a lot of like really good materials. I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna make this a video just for people that don't know or haven't really noticed or haven't pieced it together. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there for them. So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have just a nice rest of your day, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace, light, guys.